42岁没有结婚没有小孩。哎呀，之前想找一个和我年纪相仿的，后来想找一个年龄比我大5岁之内就可以，再后来想找一个比我大10岁之内就可以了，再后来当后妈也认了，因为年龄越大越没有市场，只能在他们这里要求。
我今年33岁了，还没结婚，没生孩子，就是我现在真的很后悔。我后悔当初我为什么没有早点去结婚，拖到了30多岁以后的年纪，到现在我真的很后悔。3岁之前也应该是结婚成家的最好的时候，但是现在已经快40多岁了，现在身边的人没有一个人喜欢我，只有我一个人孤孤单单的，就是生病了，说的难听一点，倒在家里都没有人看到你，就是
今年55岁，没有结婚。年轻的时候呢，身材长相都很出众。
I'm 55 years old this year. I've never been married in my life, and I don't have any children. When I was young, my looks and figure stood out among the crowd. I could hold my own wherever I went. There are 3 sisters in my family, and I'm the eldest. Now that I've passed the age of 50, I want to use my own real-life experiences to offer a sincere piece of advice to anyone who's planning to stay single for life. No matter if you're unmarried now, or you consider yourself a so-called non-marriage advocate, whether you're a man or a woman, after hearing my story, maybe you'll start to reconsider what truly matters, and what the right understanding of marriage really is. I'm 55 years old and work for a state-owned enterprise. In many aspects, you could say I'm doing fairly well. Back when I was at the prime age for marriage, I was always hesitating, unable to make a decision. On one hand, I was living a free and unrestrained life, feeling that being alone was easy and relaxing. On the other hand, the friends and colleagues around me, some got divorced, some argued with their spouses all the time. The unhappiness I saw in their marriages planted seeds of fear in my heart. I started to feel that marriage wasn't all that great, and I even developed some resistance to it. At the same time, my family and relatives, before I turned 40, would always bring up one topic every time we met or spoke on the phone: when do you plan to get married? The sentence they said most often was, "Don't be too picky. There's no such thing as a perfect man. As long as he has good character, a sense of responsibility and ambition, he's worth marrying." They also reminded me, once you get older, it's going to be much harder to meet someone suitable. Their words were all well-meaning, and I could tell they truly cared, but I still turned down their good intentions time and time again. To put it plainly, back then I felt I had good conditions, and I wasn't willing to lower my standards or give up my so-called pride. Later on, my family stopped persuading me, and my relatives and friends stopped introducing me to potential matches. Life quietly slipped by in this so-called go-with-the-flow state. Until recent years, my parents both fell seriously ill and passed away. My siblings all started families of their own, surrounded by children and grandchildren. That's when I truly felt what it means to be middle-aged and utterly alone. In my life now, there's only me. As I grow older, I've started to feel lost, started to feel lonely. I keep asking myself, having never married up to this point, was that the right decision, or a mistake? When I was young, I relied on my own assets, my looks, my youth, and refused to compromise or be constrained. And now? As the years pass, I no longer have that youthful glow or sense of pride. What I'm left with is aging, fading beauty, and endless loneliness and boredom. Back then, I lived freely and recklessly. Now that I've aged, I no longer have my beloved parents by my side. My siblings have their own families and don't check in on me often. Yes, I have savings and a pension, but can those things talk to me? I've slowly started to pay the price for the ignorance of my youth, because no matter what happens, I have to face it alone. I've started to fear being by myself. What if something happens to me? I've started to laugh at my own naivety and stubbornness back then. I've started to regret not listening to the good advice from my parents and relatives. Even if you have money, so what? It can't give you companionship or true affection. I've deeply experienced just how painful it is, at this age, to live all alone, with no children and no partner. Not long ago, I caught a cold and ended up in the hospital. It was my niece who signed the admission papers for me. But of course, the younger generation has their own work and responsibilities, so they hired a caregiver to help me. Just that one minor illness made me so dizzy I couldn't even get out of bed. Even eating and drinking became difficult. I really don't dare to imagine, if this wasn't a major illness and I could still somehow manage. What will happen when I'm older, when I can't take care of myself, when I'm hospitalized and can't even sign my name, what then? Thinking about that brought me to tears. Sure, people say now that retirement homes are nice, and I do have some savings, but going to a retirement home is fine only if you're still healthy enough to care for yourself. What about when you're not? I really don't want to spend the rest of my life in a place like that. Now I'm genuinely scared of being alone at home, with no one to talk to at all. I adopted a little cat. It's the only companion I can talk to these days. But of course, it can only listen to me speak. After hearing all this, are there still young people out there who don't want to get married? If so, then please, try to find someone suitable to marry. Either have a child or have a partner, just don't end up with neither. Don't think that money can solve all your problems. When people get old, what they really need is people, affection and companionship. I didn't spend enough time with my parents when I was younger. If you're with your parents now, then please, spend more time with them. And if your parents are pressuring you to get married, take my advice, don't be hot-headed when you're young. Don't make choices that you'll deeply regret when you're old. Your parents have walked more roads than you've eaten grains of salt. In this world, only your parents truly love you unconditionally. Please listen to them, because the more rebellious you are when you're young, the deeper your regret will be in old age.
我感觉我好像嫁不出去了。89年的我今
I'm really starting to feel more and more like I might never get married. As a woman born in 1989, I'm already 36 years old this year. I've never been married, and I don't have children either. By this point, I've come to clearly realize that in the matchmaking market, my age has become a kind of original sin. This year, someone still tried to introduce me to a potential match, but as soon as they heard my age, the guy immediately shook his head and said he wasn't really considering women in this age range anymore. The reason was straightforward. They think being an older mother is risky, and fear there might be complications with childbirth in the future. Plus, at this age, it's also hard to find someone truly compatible. Honestly, after hearing that kind of thing so many times, I've grown numb to it. I've gradually started to give up too. But then I thought, every path in life has its own scenery. Being single doesn't necessarily mean you failed. Sure, being alone can feel lonely, but that sense of inner peace and independent freedom, marriage doesn't necessarily provide that. Some people are married and seem surrounded by noise and liveliness, but does that mean they're not lonely? Looking around me, most of the marriages I see are a complete mess, constant arguing, endless trivial matters, and that only makes me question the meaning of marriage even more. Honestly, I haven't seen a single couple around me that makes me yearn for that kind of relationship. Maybe it's because I've been alone for too long, living by myself for too long, that I've become a bit reclusive. I've grown too used to the rhythm of being on my own. That kind of life, filled with arguments and back and forth between two people, I don't think I could handle it anymore, and I don't want to force myself to adapt to it either. So be it. Let things unfold naturally. I won't force anything, nor will I reject it. I just hope I can live with clarity and peace of mind.
我今年28了，单身，未婚未育。
I'm 28 years old this year, single, never married, and without children. To be honest, back in the past couple of years, many of my friends around me were getting married one after another, and my desire to get married was particularly strong. At that time, I just wanted to find a guy right away. If he met all my requirements, then we could move into marriage together. At that time, my parents were also pushing me really hard to get married. I'm a kindergarten teacher. My daily work revolves around kids and their parents. In my job, I'm the kind of girl who's outgoing, cheerful, and a bit careless in a good way, always full of energy when dealing with children and parents. But after work, I don't really like socializing. I don't go out much. I often just cook for myself or hang out with a few close girlfriends. My social circle is actually very fixed, and I basically spend every day just hanging out with girls. I rarely get the chance to meet any new guys. Honestly, there really aren't any suitable men around me. It was probably starting last year that I gradually stopped longing for marriage as much as I used to. It's not that I've completely given up on getting married, but I've slowly come to realize I just haven't met the right person. And marriage, well, it no longer feels like a must-do mandatory option for me. My parents' attitude toward me has also changed. They're no longer nagging me every day or bringing it up to every person they see. Instead, they've kind of become more passive or maybe indifferent. They don't mention marriage much anymore. It feels like they've already started to feel a little disappointed in me. Even though I might appear calm and unbothered on the surface, to be honest, I do feel anxious deep down. After all, I'm already 28 years old, and many girls my age are already married with kids. Every time there's a family gathering or holiday, when relatives bring up these topics, they always say, "Don't rush, you're still young, don't pressure yourself too much." But the more I hear this, the more I start to wonder, am I really not in a rush, or have they already given up hope on me? Sometimes I seriously wonder, what's wrong with me? Why haven't I ever met that right person? Or is the real problem actually my lifestyle? Is it too closed off, too limited? Is my circle simply too small? I barely even have any access to guys. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. In just 2 more years, I'll be 30. And once you hit 30, you're officially considered a leftover woman in China. I really am starting to feel anxious.
最近这段时间也没有媒人给我介绍相亲对象了，我也不知道为什么，可能是因为我太优秀了。
Lately, no matchmaker has introduced any blind dates to me, and I really don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just too outstanding. No one is good enough for me. I feel that once a woman passes the age of 30, it becomes harder and harder to find a partner. I'm already 32 this year, and I suddenly have this ominous feeling. I feel like maybe I won't ever get married in this lifetime. Am I really that bad? I don't think I'm ugly, and in terms of personality and everything else, I'm actually pretty good. So why is it so hard just to find someone? I'm really puzzled. Just thinking about it makes me feel full of regret. I found myself so worried these days that I can't sleep well at all, day or night, and my family keeps nagging me about marriage all the time. Right now, I honestly feel panicked, and every year, the anxiety just gets worse. I really don't know what men are thinking these days. Do you all really dislike dating leftover women? Lately, I find myself constantly missing my ex, and the blind dates I used to have. Back then, when I was in my 20s, all the men those matchmakers introduced to me were top-quality guys. If they weren't tall, rich, and handsome, then they were second-generation rich. Why didn't I like any of them at the time? I swear, I regret it so much now I could cry. I really don't want to talk about the past anymore. Everyone who was supposed to get married early already has. Some of them even have 2 or 3 kids. And I just deeply regret not getting married sooner. Now, getting married seems harder than ever. And the men matchmakers introduce me to these days. Well, they're not exactly high-quality guys. Most of them are basically the leftovers that no one else wanted. The ones they introduce to me now? They're like the bottom of the barrel. I can't even stand to look at them. I feel absolutely nothing for them. Sometimes, I even think, if it really comes to that, maybe I should just marry some random guy and get it over with. Like those divorced men? Or guys with kids. Worst case, I'll just settle. These days, I'm really in a terrible mood every day. All I want now is to find a guy who listens to me, is obedient, honest, and looks at least slightly above average. Forget it. I won't think about it so much anymore. I just hope I can find my Mr. Right soon.
Leftover women, we must stand our ground, grit our teeth, and hold on. You have to believe me. So long as we stick to one principle in the future, if a man doesn't meet the standard, don't even consider him. First, he must be at least 1.85 meters tall. That's a non-negotiable requirement. Even if you're only 1.58 meters, it doesn't matter. Next, he must be under 35 years old. Even if you're already 38 now, you cannot compromise on this point. Then, his looks have to be top tier. He needs to be better looking than a male celebrity. Even if you yourself are very average looking, it's totally fine. We must have taste, ambition, and high standards. Now let's talk about financial conditions. This is the most important part. The man must have at least 30 million yuan in savings. And not just that. He must be willing to spend it on you, take you to enjoy life, and absolutely must not be a stingy miser. On top of that, he must be capable, willing to work hard, never complain, and be ready to give everything for you. And most importantly, he must be able to constantly provide you with emotional support. When you're unhappy, he needs to sense it immediately, take care of you, comfort you, and cheer you up. All of the above, he must fulfill. Not a single one can be missing. Now here comes the key point. Before marriage, he must sign a formal agreement with you. It must clearly state, if you get divorced, he must give you half of all his property. No room for negotiation. If he meets all the above requirements, then we marry him. If he doesn't, then don't hesitate. Eliminate and move on to the next. Don't waste your time. Let me emphasize one more time. As long as you firmly stick to these standards, never waver, your dream will come true one day. That tall, rich, handsome CEO is getting closer and closer to you, got it? Brothers, what do you think? Are the dating standards I've set for leftover women reasonable or not? Feel free to leave your comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.